Who doesn't love a tarot book or 6 or 7 or a lot? I think I'm probably over 100 tarot books, just books alone. I really ought to do a library tour at some point, although it would take a very long time. Anyhoodle, I have put together a couple of lists of the tarot books that I recommend for tarot students and tarot readers to take a look at. This is my 2025 edition for the 11 books I would give to a beginner or someone who is looking to really get a good grasp of the foundations of the tarot. Now, you do not need to buy a million books to be a fantastic reader. I'm not saying that at all. I'm sharing with you the books that I have read and that I love and that I would recommend to anyone who is asking. And I have read every single one of the ones I'm going to share with you. Some of them are a little older, like we're getting into some of the classics here. Yes. And some of them are pretty new. Where you can find each of them is in the description box, and I also have a blog post as well on the subject. But if you're here watching the video, then this is probably the best place to do it. I'm going to switch over the camera so I can show you what is actually in each of the books and why I have selected it. As an author who has written 3 dedicated tarot books through the publisher Llewellyn, I can say that it is a labour of love to write a tarot book. So make sure you go and buy a real copy, not a pirated copy of these books if you like them, and share them or write a lovely review on Amazon or somewhere like that, or Goodreads, so that our amazing tarot community can find really, really good tarot books. Just another note before I swap over those cameras, I am a Rider-Waite Smith girly. I teach the Rider-Waite Smith system. I read the Rider-Waite Smith system, and these books are based on the Rider-Waite system. No one system is above any other. I am someone who really likes people in their decks. I like all of the symbols to work together to weave a story, and the Rider-Waite Smith does that for me. And so all of these books are going to be based on that. So if you are Marseille or you really like the Thoth, then this might not be the great list for you, but there are a couple of books in here that will absolutely translate to other systems. But I just wanted to let you all know before we get started. The Pictorial Key to the Tarot is Arthur Edward Waite's classic book. I have 2 editions of this. I would love to one day get a larger illustrated colour one, which my good friend Chris showed me one day, and I was like, I am jealous of you. And I do believe that reading this book is essential to anyone who wants to read specifically and particularly the Rider-Waite Smith system. It's not the most, robust, of tarot books, but if you're going to read with the Rider-Waite system, then I think it's probably a good idea to read the source material before you go and read anything else that it's based off of. So, if we have a look here at the actual page dedicated to a card, this is big enough that you could even colour this in. But if you look at the text, there's actually quite a little bit here. So obviously this dark young man may not specifically be very helpful in 2025, but a faithful, a lover, an envoy, a postman. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the rider in the Lenormand. A dangerous rival. It's if followed by the Page of Cups. Like, there is actually some really great stuff in here for the divination side of the tarot. And I do think that it is worth reading. It might be a little dry. You have to remember this was written in 1909 or 1910. This one's by Sterling, but the other one, this is by US Game Systems. Let's have a look. 1971. But I think that's this copy, because I actually have older texts from 1909. I've showed this before in my UK Tarot Conference video, where I was actually holding text, little esoteric magazines from the time. I really do think it is worth a look. It's got some really interesting little additional meanings for the arcana, which can be really great if you're into putting them on little index cards and testing yourself. I think it's really fun. So here we go, like 4 kings is a great honor, 3 kings is a consultation, 2 kings is a minor council. And this is oracle, this is divination. So if you read the cards in a divinatory practice, which Waite was a mystic. I have seen the texts. I have seen the original text from the early 1900s. I've held them in my hands thanks to the Atlantis bookstore. He was a mystic. This was meant to be read as a divination system, as an oracle. This is essential reading. A Complete Guide to the Tarot by Eden Gray is another oldie, but a goodie. I love these old Bantam book classics. There's just something about them. This is a really old one, so I don't know where I got this one from. But this you can find on a lot of, in secondhand bookstores and in lots of other places. This is from 1970, yes, and it is again fully illustrated. It expands upon Waite's system because it has reversed. Waite doesn't necessarily talk about reversals in his book as per like giving you one for each card. It is just a really fantastic book, and a lot of tarot books now are heavily inspired by some of these earlier books. Then at the back we also have tarot numerology and lots of other, okay, so then we have tarot in the Kabbalah. That should be something, a very familiar sight for those of you who study those two. And then we have the pathways, of course, with the major arcana, tarot and astrology, and then the Fool's Journey. And yes, this is absolutely so fantastic. And then we have a glossary of symbolic terms. And again, I mean, when you go in here, Eclipse is superconscious, key 21, it tells you what cards we're looking at. And the Cypress tree, for example, Sacred to Venus, key 3, Empress, court cards of the swords. So what does that tell us about the connection to Venus and the court cards of the swords? And then you might have your own interpretation or relationship with the symbol of the Cypress tree. It is absolutely fantastic, and it has a bibliography. I'm very much into bibliographies. I have them all in the books that I've written. This is a fabulous book, and I highly recommend that if you have not gotten yourself this really cute fit in your bag book, classic on tarot, you need to go and read that this year. Make it this year that you're going to read The Complete Guide to Tarot by Eden Gray. Another little paperback, although this one is a little thicker than the Eden Gray, but another one you can easily put in your bag if you have to still take public transport or you just want something to kick around when you have a moment. This is The Mystical Tarot by Rosemary Ellen Guiley. Oof, I'm terrible. So this is a step-by-step guide to the tarot's ancient mysterious symbols. And as you can see, we have a ton of information on the symbols. This is a fabulous, I got this secondhand, so you can find this pretty easily at secondhand stores. This is from, I want to say this is also from the 70s. Oh no, 1991. I was wrong. 22 decades, as a matter of fact. This is really fantastic. You got the origins. I don't know. I'm not going to get into a history lesson on tarot. There are much smarter people with history degrees for that one. But there's a bit there. And then we go into, oh my gosh, get it together. Kabbalah. I mean, hello, we all know, look at this. Who's this? The Alchemical Tarot, the one and only, Mr. Place. And he's actually the person you want to read, by the way, if you want tarot history. There is no one else that I would recommend to read but him. And then we go into lots of information about the card. Okay. It's such a great book. We have symbols here. This is an old copy, so this is split. And then we run into awesome different ways to read the cards. So we've got information on working with spreads when more information is needed, breaking in a new pack. I'm not going to tell you where my mind just went, but you could probably guess. Oh, look, there's even a little bookmark in here. So opening and closing rituals. I love this book. This is my second copy of this book. I'm really glad that I found it. But I don't know where my first went. It could be in storage, to be honest. But then we have even more symbols here with a glossary. And then we have some sample readings, which is really helpful. And it's something that I do every month with my tarot students as we have a tarot study call. Every month it's live. So we do a lot of sample readings to give people practice with people, crystal stones and metals, and then obviously a delicious bibliography. You know how much I love my books. And then, it's a fantastic book. Another one that I highly recommend you get into for 2025 if you haven't read it. I'm often asked, what does this symbol on the cards mean? And there are symbol books that I will say that I think are fantastic. Jennifer's books are Ferocious Ink, incredible. The Tarot Deciphered or Decoded and the Symbolum Tarot that I just shared. But this is a good place to start as well. But I just want to say one quick thing about symbols. Symbols are going to mean something different depending on where in the world you're from and your relationship with that symbol. So I've said this millions of times, right? Let's look at the spider. I cannot tell you how many times I've had conversations about spiders. Every time someone finds out I'm Australian when I travel, they either talk to me about the sharks or the spiders. And for me, I actually love sharks and I'm terrified of spiders. But the spiders aren't as bad as everyone says they are in Australia, believe me. But see, that we're going to have different experiences and different relationships with symbols and animals and things like that. So always be really aware of that. But this one is actually quite good. This one is 2008. This was reprinted by that Urania company that have got fantastic books. And oh my gosh, there's one book, The Untitled Tarot, that I would love to get about astrology, but can't get it. But here we go. You've got 10 most important interpretations, spreads, astrology, and then the overview of the cards. And I love this. An interpretation is only complete after it's led to practical consequences. Absolutely. We will gain the greatest benefit from laying tarot cards when we are prepared not merely to seek the theoretical insight, but also to draw practical conclusions. The practical results are the only yardstick with which we can assess whether a given interpretation was right for our personal situation. So good. It's a really, really fun book, but this is where the rubber hits the road for me. It shows lots of little symbols all the way through using the Rider-Waite.
There's a basic meaning, a spiritual experience, card of the day, prognosis, love and relationships, success and happiness, fantastic. But it'll also show you where on the card it is. So while, again, you might have a very different experience with certain things. I mean, obviously the tower, no one really wants to be falling from that, but not everyone likes dogs. I mean, I love my dogs, and I have a fluffy white one, as many of you know, and he's very chatty and that scares a lot of people. So, in some cultures, black cats mean bad luck. I absolutely love black cats. I love all animals, to be honest. But so it depends on where you're coming from. But it is a really, really good resource if you're stuck on a specific symbol in the Rider-Waite Smith and you want a jump off point, even if there's something that you don't necessarily agree with or it's not something that you feel is there. Because as you saw from what Waite wrote about the cards, he didn't talk about every symbol. So, of course, any visual language, any symbolic language is going to be open to interpretation. But, it's a fantastic book. And this was republished through Llewellyn. So this is the ultimate guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot, and it is a really lovely colour book that'll help you with the symbols in the cards. The Living Tarot by T. Susan Chang is not a book that is about card meanings, but it is about connecting to cards in everyday life for better readings. And this is invaluable information and practices for every single reader, because it is great to understand the card meanings and know them. And, many of us professionals do know them. But if you can't apply it to everyday life, then what are you even doing? This is from 2023. So this is a newer book from Llewellyn. And we have assignments. Oh my gosh, the Ravenclaw in me. I absolutely love homework. But only homework I'm interested in because, I do have the ADHD. So this is so fun. This is like getting a really juicy, I guess, my gosh, I don't know. It's like having a really cool school book, and there is space for you to write in it. Now, I am terrible at writing in my books. So I would not write in my books. I'd probably put in a little sticker in a journal. But yeah, look at this. Like it takes me back to I can almost smell it, the photocopies from school and having those worksheets. Such a nerd. You're a nerd. You are a nerd. But it is so, so fun. This will give you months and months, if not an entire year of exercises you can do for expanding your tarot muscles, learning the cards, and finding your own, special herbs and spices, all that kind of stuff. Not that I would ever, KFC is disgusting. But anyway, yes, it's really, really great. Really well researched, fantastic book. I cannot recommend this book enough for putting all of those lovely books where they have information about the cards into practice. Liz Worth has been publishing books from her home in Ontario for a long time, and I've selected her Power of Tarot, although Going Beyond the Little White Book is fabulous, and they are self-published, so you're going to be helping out an author when you get something from her. So this is from 2019, and what is fabulous about this book is it is going to take you through what it's like to read the tarot, and it's in all of its ways, shapes and forms. I can tell you I've heard the craziest things as a tarot reader. I don't think anything shocks me anymore. Absolutely nothing. So truly. Okay, so for example, this is really important. Examining the basics of your beliefs, fate, free will, and collective karma. Really important for any tarot reader to get their bearings on where they sit with fate, free will, and collective karma. I've done a video on that before. It's so important to sit with your own ideas, beliefs, and thoughts on that. You know, what divinity, fate versus free will. I mean, it's such a meaty book. You know, where does intuition come from? It's just fantastic. What is tarot for? Can tarot be wrong? It really answers a lot of really, really great questions. And then it does go into, you know, the suits, etc. But it kind of dissects them in a way that gives you lots and lots and lots to think about. Dealing with clients, what if you get it wrong? Reading for yourself. Honestly, really great book. A lot of books go into either the meanings of the cards or they're more, you know, there's not so much about the actual art of reading and what we should examine in ourselves and what we need to bring to the table for our clients and for ourselves or our friends and our family, what we need to really work on ourselves, our shadow selves, and identifying our biases and all that kind of stuff. And this is one of those books. So The Power of Tarot, fantastic. Highly recommend it for any tarot reader. I love Madame Pamita. I think she is utterly bloody fabulous and such a lovely, lovely person. I'm so privileged to call her my friend and my colleague. And she is a mystic. She is an absolute magical, fantastic, incredible woman. This is from Wiser in 2018. And it is a really rich book. I mean, you know, she talks about magic words, making magic with the tarot. There's a lovely map of the minor arcana. This is a mystical way of looking through the tarot. I just absolutely adore that she has put her take on the tarot and to really have a look at the tarot from a place of magic, because magic is going to be there for those who believe and for those who, you know, look for it, as I say. What is the tarot and how can it magically change your life for the better? So, I mean, we got some, you know, past, present, and future, but there's lots of things that you can go in here. You know, lots of different ways to work with tarot affirmations, really, really easy ways to work with the magic of the tarot. Yeah, it's just fantastic. And then when you go into each of the card meanings, we have your adventure with the Six of Swords. This is lots of information here. I mean, look at this. The most famous ferryman of all is Chiron or Charon. Maybe Chiron is the other one. I think Chiron is the constellation, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's Charon. Ooh. Sorry about that. Greek mythology, Charon was the ferryman. He was the psychopomp, a guide who assisted the spirits of the newly dead on the trip to the afterlife. He transported people over the river Styx. Yes, great band as well. I am showing my age. But yeah, so then you got these symbolic, the keys here as well. And then we have what it may signal in a reading, behind it, and then affirmations. So I just think that her wealth of wisdom, if you've ever met her, you can just tell this woman walks her talk, and she's just a really fabulous ray of light, and she has her own, yes, magical parlor. So I recommend this one for beginners as a wonderful way, especially if you're like me and you're a mystical reader. But it's got some meat in it, you know. She's a very, very, very smart woman. That's Madame Pamita's Magical Tarot. Barbara Moore has written so many tarot guidebooks and books. This is the Your Tarot Your Way. It's a really simple, personal way to get into the cards. This is from 2016. And then it's about you, about tarot, reversals, significators, and clarifiers, how to do a reading, and then she jumps right in. And it's going to help you with different things like, oh, I've got questions about how do I look at different numbers in the cards. I love that she's got some playtime in here as well, so it gives you exercises to do. But everything is done through the numbers. So here we have the 8s, and then we have here a little bit about the energy of the number, and then you can take that information as it's fresh in your mind straight into the different cards. And I believe this is a classic, Llewellyn's Classic Tarot, which I also have. So if you're looking for a way to work with the cards that is not necessarily in Ace of Wands, 2 of Wands, 3 of Wands, etc., but you want to look at it more from a numerological, what does the vibe of that actual number mean and how does that transfer into the card, this is definitely the way to go. It's a really easy read. I mean, Barbara absolutely knows what she's doing. She's written a lot of books, so it's not something that you're going to feel like your brain is trying really hard to decipher, you know, text from the early 1900s, which also do my head in. But it's a fabulous book for you to read if you are a beginner or you want something to keep your tarot skills sharp. Sorry, not sorry, I'm putting one of my books in here. Yes, that's right. If I was doing this next year, it would be my next book, but we're going to talk about this one. She's been out for a while, everybody, and maybe you haven't seen it. So this came out in 2019. Oh my goodness. And this book is meant to help bridge the gap between the court cards that are pages, knights, queens, and kings into our modern world. So I talk about titles, gender, physical identifiers, the age, tarot elements, and things like that, astrology and the zodiac, predicting timing with the court cards, hierarchy roles, and the progression of the tarot court. Now, this is one of the things that I am really passionate about, seeing each one of these stages of the tarot court as kind of an initiation of power, and how they use their resources and power in the world. And I have always said, first of all, take what resonates with you and leave the rest, but also use everything as a jump off point to understand the cards deeply on your level. And then I spent a long time on archetypes in the tarot court. So, for example, the Knight of Wands is my adventurer. So for me, they are mutable fire. So Sagittarius, they're the adventurer, the love and relationships, adventurer and love and relationships, the adventurer in work and career, because you may have different questions. And then the indicators that you are a Knight of Wands or an adventurer archetype, then their strengths, their shadow side, the archetype in a reading. There we go. If the Knight of Wands comes up in a position that requires an outcome, action, or the next step forward, because I can't tell you how many students and clients of mine really get stuck on this. And I spent a long time on this one. So I also have some lovely exercises all the way through here, and then spreads for the court cards, exploring the different gifts they have. This is really meant to, like I said, to be a jump off point, and of course a bibliography, because so if you haven't resonated with a lot of the tarot court, this might be for you. And you can even apply this to any other tarot court system that is outside of the Rider-Waite Smith. It works across the board because we're talking about different archetypes and different initiations of power, different ways in which we move through the world. So that's my first book, and it's published through Llewellyn, and you can still get it. It's still in print. So yeah, that's another one. Tarot on the internet would not be what it is today if not for Joan Bunning. And you can try to convince me otherwise, but I really don't think you can. This is the author of Learning the Tarot. This is the updated version. You can even go to Learn Tarot and it's still there. This is from Wiser. I have, even put my little tabs in there This is such a classic. This one was reprinted from, it's from 2019, but this edition is a collection of portions from the previous published titles, Learning the Tarot, which I have, Learning Tarot Reversals, and Learning Tarot Spreads. I don't have, or maybe I do have both of those. I don't know. I've got so many freaking books. But it's a huge book. And you can really enjoy going through the basics. This, I think, should be on every single tarot reader's bookshelf, because if you haven't gone to learntarot.com, you've really missed out. I'm sure nearly every one of you have. She has just done so much for the tarot world. And so look how much there is to kind of get your teeth stuck into before we even get into these are huge pages too. I mean, like, hello. But then look, actions, beginning, being spontaneous, and then we have reversed, early and late phases, and then we have description. It's just like those keywords that we find nearly on every single freaking website, and then some possible opposing cards and some possible reinforcing cards. And this is great if you're looking to work on your combinations, although I always say to students that your combinations also have to remain in context to the tarot reading, the question that has been answered to you, like you're there to read the cards. I'm going to get that on a fucking t-shirt from Rachel Pollack. Your job is to read the cards. You know, you're not meant to put your own drama in it or insert yourself into it. You're there, or have a therapy session, you're there to read the cards. Unless you're marrying the two. Like, there are many, many skilled people who marry the two, but don't ever forget, if you're a card reader, you're a card reader. And that wasn't to throw shade at anyone. I just love that quote. You're there to read the cards. So it's great with the context. You have to make sure you keep the context. And when you go to the minor, there's still as much information. And I love that we have like ace pairs. So you're still getting so much information. You know, she hasn't like given you another one from my Penumbra Tarot. Yeah, I've got lots of bookmarks and things like that in places. Court card pairs, you know. The Queen of Cups can form a pair with any other court card. Compare the ranks and suit of the two cards to see what a pair might mean. Rank is a really... See, ace. So if you had the Ace of Swords with the wands, you know, she gives you, and you can look at that through the elemental lens, which is probably what it is considering the aces. It is, you can tell I have, I love this. So then there is a breakdown of the Celtic cross and what these positions may actually mean, because as we know, the Celtic cross has got more than one kind of layout, interpretation. It is a fantastic, oh my gosh, book. And look at these keywords, like you're disrupting, then you can have a look at what is disrupting here. Yeah, and then look, oh my God, we've got so many delicious keywords. Beautiful. And then we have the Fool's Journey. Yeah, go get it. It's fabulous. You will not regret having this on your bookcase. This book is almost too big for this, my little setup here. This is Llewellyn's complete book of the Rider-Waite Smith by Sasha Graham, another one of my very lovely friends and colleagues, and forward by the late Stuart Kaplan from US Game Systems. And whew, this is a big, juicy book, and you can see I've got sticky notes all the way through it. I do read my books. This is fantastic. It takes you through, so we've got Mercy here, and we're looking at the Tree of Life through Chesed or Binah. I am not the greatest when it comes to my Hebrew pronunciation, so do please forgive me. But what it also has here, so the Lord of Earthly Power, this is from the Thoth as well. The Lord of Material Works through Pentacles, Mars and Capricorn. this is also, so you're going to get a little bit of information also from the Thoth or the Toth, depending on how you pronounce it. And that's through the Kabbalah, right? And it's really a fantastic, fantastic book. It's something I highly recommend if you're looking to dive into a card. It's just a fabulous resource. It's such a lovely chunky book, and sometimes I need to feel inspired and I just go in and I read this very well researched. And then it has as well Waite's divinatory meanings, which is great to have, but it also gives you lots of space if you want to write notes. It's just a really, really fantastic resource. And so we have lots of spreads as well in the back because, you know, oh my gosh, look at that. My goodness, that's a blast from the past, my bad bitch's tarot. And then we have symbolic readings, so some really fun ways of working with the deck. And, the New York Public Library. Yes. So, yeah, it's a fantastic book. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It's a lovely, big, thick book. And you will go to it time and time again.
Any of these on your bookcase, and do you love them? Let me know in the comments. And if you want me to do an advanced tarot book recommendation list, let me know as well, because I absolutely have got some already in my mind of which ones I can share with you. And it really helps if you leave a comment or give a little thumbs up for this channel. I'll see you all next time.